Reisenhuber, and I'm the Education Coordinator for the NASA Oklahoma Space Grant Consortium. Today, we are going to take a closer look at the phases of the moon thanks to help from Stacy Stephen and Abby Campbell.
Supplies you need to make the moon phase poster is pre-made bubble solution or a homemade bubble solution to use dish soap and water. You need a bowl that will hold about 2 cups of fluid with some additional space at the top to create your bubbles. You need about 1/4 cup of white or clear corn syrup and about 1/4 cup of black paint. In addition to the stuff you need for your bubble solution, you need 4 dessert-sized paper plates, either a glue stick or liquid glue, a pair of scissors, and a sheet of black bulletin paper measuring about 24 inches by 64 inches.
Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Stevenson and I have a guest today.
Hi, I'm Miss Campbell.
And we're going to do a Phases of the Moon poster with you guys. Some of the supplies you may need are 2 straws. She has 2 straws too. You're going to need black paint, and you're going to need bubble solution, or you can make your own bubble solution using water and soap, dish soap, okay? Now, if you're using dish soap, try not to get something that the color of the dish soap is too dark because it will start to change the color of the solution that you're making to create your moon's wick, which we learned the hard way and had to start over before. So first we're gonna start out making the solution, and this is how you do it. Okay, boys and girls, what you're gonna need is a bowl to create your solution in, which is going to be water, so there's water in here. Your Dawn soap, if you're not using the bubble solution, you're gonna need water, Dawn soap, and then in both situations, you're gonna need some light clear syrup. Corn syrup, there you go. Okay, what I did was, so I can just throw this away because it's gonna have a different tint to it, is I just cut the top of the water bottle off, and now there's water at the bottom of this. You can use tubs, you can use a bowl from the kitchen, make sure you clean it really well, because sometimes the black can leave a ring around it. But for the most part, you just need something that's deep enough to hold your solution and wide enough to create a mass of bubbles over the top of it, which is what you're gonna be using to create your moon. We're going to use this to create our bubbles. So now we're going to create a giant straw. I'm going to let Abby explain that because I got stuff on my hands.
Okay, so you're going to take both of your straws, you'll open both of them, and you need to cut a little slit in the top of your straw. So if you will take your scissors, kind of squeeze it together. That way, your next straw can fit inside the other straw and you can have a giant straw.
The one that you cut is going to go inside the uncut portion. This will help keep, whenever you go to blow into it, sometimes it comes, you take a breath and it will come back in. You don't want it spilling everywhere out the cut of the straw. But you also don't want to drink the solution. Nothing in here will make you truly sick, but it's not delicious. And it will probably stay in your teeth and your tongue for a minute.
So I just wanted to insert this slide so that you can see what we're talking about. If you're nervous about fluid leaking out through the meeting of the 2 straws, you may add some tape, but it's not necessary unless you just really want to.
Okay, so as you can see, we've got the bubble solution here. It has the corn syrup in it. It has the bubble solution in it, and it also has the paint in it. As you can see, this is pretty dark, which is what you want, because whenever you go to blow the bubbles will be a dark gray or a black color. Over here, this is an old school fast food restaurant tray. If you are a teacher watching this, I highly suggest you get a classroom set of these. I use it all the time. But we're gonna use this to put our moons on after we have gotten them nice and bubbly.
But as you can see here, I was using butcher paper and poster board paper to draw a separation line and to write their name on it so that they can go back to them after they dried, so we could teach another lesson in between the drying time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with these cheap paper plates that were at the beginning of the video that we told you would need. There's no clear sheen over this. It's just cheap paper plates.
There's 4. You need 4 per person if you're going to make your own set of moon phases.
So the reason why you need a partner with this is I'm the only person that's gonna put my mouth on the end of this straw. Especially at this time, you don't wanna be sharing stuff like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blow into the solution, and Miss Campbell's gonna take this paper plate, and once we have a heaping, that's a scientific word, right?
Of course.
A heaping mound of gray-black bubbles over the top of this container, she will take that paper and she's gonna scoop it. Now she's gonna turn it, so she's probably gonna get the solution on her fingers, totally washable, making sure that the bubbles cover the entirety of the paper plate before we move it to the tray to dry. Because we want it to dry, may not dry all the way, but you want it to dry a little bit before we start using it for our poster.
She's gonna start blowing, and she's gonna keep blowing until we have that heaping so that I can scoop it here.
I'm not blowing too hard. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Because if you blow too hard, as you can see, it's gonna start splattering everywhere, and it's kind of hard on the tables if you do that so many times. So now I have a heap of bubbles, and she's just gonna go around the plate, scooping it up. Let me see if I can get a bigger one. Perfect. Sometimes you can use 2 plates to help you out. There you go. And as you can see, she's covered the entire plate, and she's just gonna put it over here to dry. So we're gonna put all 4 around here to dry.
Now it's my turn to scoop bubbles and for Abby to start blowing into it. She's going to use her straw.
Let our plates dry. All the bubbles have popped, so we have our craters to make our moons.
Yes, so you can see where there was absence of the solution, but an air bubble from blowing the bubbles and putting it onto the plates. Hers are a little lighter than mine. Mine are a little bit darker. You get the darker spots from those teeny tiny bubbles because they're closer together, and the big craters are from the larger bubbles. So remember that whenever you go to make your moons. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these 4 moons and we're gonna create the different phases of the moon. Because like humans, we all go through phases, so does the moon. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna pick our favorite moon. This is gonna be our full moon. So just look through it and pick the one that you think is the best. I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, go with this one. Let me see yours. Yeah, that's a good one. So we're not gonna do anything with that. We're just gonna set it off to the side and focus on the last 3. Mine's a little bit damp still. She didn't have any darker spots, so hers may not be. You want it to dry a little bit because now we're gonna start cutting into them. If they're really wet and you start cutting into them, it's gonna rip a little bit. These are dinner plate sizes, so there's gonna be, ours are gonna be larger posters. You can also keep in mind that this paper plate comes in like a dessert size, which is what we usually use, but this is what I have. And they'll just be a little bit smaller. Okay, so first, we're gonna create a crescent and a gibbous. Now the gibbous is like the swollen part, but it's not a full moon. And the crescent is the part that's just a little sliver. It's everybody's favorite. I don't know why, it's my favorite. No, that's a lie, I like the full moon.
I like the crescents.
You do, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. So you're gonna grab a moon, not your full moon, and you're gonna fold it in half. Literally looks like a taco.
There you go.
Okay, so on one side, I'm gonna use this side, I'm gonna draw a half circle from one corner, like this, to where the ripples stop here in the center. So I'm gonna draw a half circle to about here, and then I'm gonna go back to that corner, okay? Miss Campbell and I are both gonna do that, and then we'll show you. It doesn't have to be perfect.
So an example would be your half circle would go from one point to the other, just like this.
This is fun and educational, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Hey! So there's mine. Can you see the brown line that starts here and goes up and comes to about here? Miss Campbell's a little bit easier to see. Yep. So it's gonna have the points at both sides, and then it's gonna be wider in the center like a crescent, okay? When you open it up, you didn't make a mark on the other side. So this is gonna create 2 different phases of your moon. So you've got to open it up before you cut it. Or you're gonna have 2 crescents and nothing else. So open it and then follow that half circle that you drew. Now I have a gibbous and a crescent. Miss Campbell does too. A gibbous and a crescent. So I'm gonna take these and put them with my full moon.
As you can see, opening the plate up to cut that crescent is very important.
We're just knocking this out of the park. Okay, now with your last moon, you've got to create 2 quarter moons. So a quarter moon from where we are, they look like a half of a circle. So we're gonna take this again and we're gonna fold it in half. But this time you don't have to draw anything because folding it puts a natural seam or a line in it. So you have to open it again and just cut along that line, like Miss Campbell's doing. You're cutting your circle into 2 halves.
Pretty even.
And then you have all your phases of the moon in a pile. Oh, Miss Campbell's was nice and neat, and then she put it in a pile. Now we're gonna tell you what you need to do to create this onto your poster.
All right, so we have cut black paper to glue down our moon on.
So this is butcher paper that most classrooms or schools will have. If you don't have it, you can always take black construction paper, put them close together, glue them by overlapping or taping them on the back, and that works perfectly fine too. This is just seamless.
So we're gonna start with our full moon, the one that we saved, the one that we did not cut, and it's gonna go in the middle, okay?
But you also need to keep in mind that you're gonna leave space at the bottom and the top, because at the bottom you're gonna label what the name or the phase of that moon is. But at the top, you're gonna put a title for your poster too. So you need to leave a little bit more space at the top than you do at the bottom, but make sure that you leave enough space to write that phase of the moon. You're also gonna need either glue sticks or liquid glue. We're gonna use sticks, because I like them. And you're also gonna need a white colored pencil or a white crayon, because these work best when writing on black paper. They just come out better. So, okay.
All right.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. So, I mean, you would probably say, like, let's lay all our moons out first. That way we don't end up labeling something that's off-centered from our moons.
Sure. First, one of the easiest way to find the center of your paper is folding it in half. So we're gonna fold it in half, and I'm just gonna create a crease, because that's now the center of our paper. So we can get a better idea of where our full moon is going to be, which will be in the very center, which is pretty close to where Miss Campbell put it to begin with. And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, so putting this down, we're gonna do the full moon first. This is how I teach it in my class, because I'm a second grade teacher and I teach younger kiddos. She may teach it in the order of the phases or however she wants to do, because she teaches an older class. She teaches 5th grade science. But what I do to help them kind of get an idea of where it's gonna go on the poster is the full moon is in the center, and then you take the crescent moons. Do I have them in the right? Nope. Take the crescent moons and you're gonna put them at the end facing away from your moon. Now the best way to remember this, and my kids always laugh at this, is the curved part or the round part is towards the full moon in the center, because they're jealous. So Miss Campbell's the full moon, she needs to shine. She says, look at me, I'm a crescent. And I'm like, well, I gotta show off. So my back is to her because I'm pouty. So my back is curved and I'm pouty because she's a show off. She's extra, she sparkles. So as you can see, the crescent, the back is towards the full moon on both sides. And those go on the very far ends. Perfect. And then the quarter moons and the gibbous go the very same way. That back round part faces the full moon. So you have the crescents on the outside, then like Miss Campbell did, then you have your quarter moons. Oh, thanks. You have your gibbous. And yes, it does have 2 curved sides, but it is not a full moon, because there's the chunk missing right where the shadow is. And this curved side, the natural curve from the plate, is what is going to be facing the full moon. Now, this is your poster, because these are your moons. Are you happy with spacing?
I believe so. That looks pretty even.
Okay, and then all she's gonna do now is go through and glue these down.
Yeah. And then we'll put our title at the top and we'll label our moons at the bottom.
And we'll show you. Okay, so now that we have the moons all situated on here, we're gonna go through and we're gonna name them. And this side over here will be the waxing, and this is the waning side. So we'll start from the middle and go out. So this is the full moon, because it's the moon in its full brightness. That's a thing, right? And then I'm gonna put over here waning gibbous. So the swollen one, but not quite full, is the gibbous. And then it's waning, because as you can see, the moon is getting smaller and smaller in size, so it's waning smaller.
It appears to be getting smaller.
Yes, it appears, because the shadow is getting larger.
So this one will be the waxing gibbous.
handwriting's going a little sideways. And then this will be the waxing, no, not waxing anything. This is the last quarter because that came first, then the whole full, and then the last. So it'll be the last and it'll start again.
So then this one will be the first quarter.
And then the crescent on the very far end, the crescent is that small skinny sliver of moon, and it's gonna be waning. So it's gonna be the waning crescent.
And this will be the waxing crescent.
I'm gonna get all up in your bubble, sorry. Okay, and I'm gonna title the poster.
You want me to sit over?
Nope, you're fine. She titled hers the phases of the moon. I'm just gonna put moon phases. So as long as your poster's titled, it's fine. I'm gonna put moon on one side and face on the other. That's how my brain thinks. That scraping noise.
And if you want to, you can decorate your title after you write it. You can make your O's look like little moons.
The kids love that. They also go in with the white colored pencils or crayons and the yellows and the light blues, and they put little stars, even with reds and stuff, especially
Decorate
the
your whole
older kids.
poster.
They'll just make little stars all the way around it.
Like you're really in space.
Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. In the classroom, I don't know if you do this with your class, but with my class, they're still learning some of these terms and what they mean. So on the back, what my class has done is this is where they kind of, in their own words, as a class, they will write the definition for waxing and waning and crescent and gibbous and explain the different phases of the moon and why it works in that way. They do it in their own words. So we do it as a class, but in their own words, because when they do it in their own words, it's best for them in the long run to remember.
Helps you remember it better.
And then they take it home, and so they're really smart, and they can be like, guess what kind of moon this is? Let me tell you about it. And it's on the back of the paper, so it's a lot of fun, and they enjoy it. It's engaging. So I'm gonna do mine, and then we're gonna add, at the end of this video, both of ours in pictures so you can see them finished. I'm gonna add some more that my class has done and that Abby's class has done. And you may not have known, but we actually presented this in Houston. Yeah, let's show off our little swag a little bit. And this was one of a couple of presentations that we were able to go and teach others. So hope you enjoyed it.
So here is a list of the key vocabulary, the words and their definitions. Feel free to pause it, take a screenshot, or whatever you need to do. Here are some examples of previous moon phase posters that some of my students have done.
Many thanks to Stacey Stevenson and Abby Campbell of El Reno Public Schools for allowing us to use that video. Until next time, race it to the moon.